Welcome to While We Were Distracted, the podcast where we explore topics that often get overshadowed in the rush of daily life. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps.
Okay, so are you ready to dive into something that's been kind of blowing up lately? UFOs, or, as the government likes to call them these days, UAPs, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. And wow, you guys sent us a ton of cool stuff this time. Pilot stories, government reports, even some stuff about the Pentagon's super secret UFO program.
It seems like people are really looking for some solid answers, not just the usual theories and rumors. And honestly, so are we.
Totally. And what's really interesting is this isn't just about grainy photos and, those late night radio stories anymore. We've got actual reports from military pilots, these official investigations, and a growing sense that something truly weird is going on up there.
Absolutely. And I think the big game changer here was that Pentagon report back in 2021. They looked at 144 encounters that military pilots and personnel reported. And get this, they could only explain one of them.
Whoa, that's like what, 99% totally unexplained?
Yep. A whole lot of mystery.
It's wild that they basically admitted they're clueless about almost all of these things. I mean, we're talking about the Pentagon, right?
Yeah.
With all their fancy tech and resources, they couldn't figure out what these things were or where they came from.
Pretty mind-boggling.
Yeah. And it's not like we're talking about just some blips on a radar screen. We've got firsthand accounts like from that Navy pilot, Ryan Graves. He said he would see these cube-shaped objects almost every day during training off the coast of Virginia.
Oh, yeah. Graves' story is a wild one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And these things, they didn't have wings, no cockpit, no exhaust, nothing. But somehow they were zooming around at insane speeds and doing these crazy maneuvers that, like, break the laws of physics as we know it.
Right. It's like they operate on a whole different set of rules.
Totally. And what's even scarier, they were messing with our aircraft. I mean, that's a safety hazard right there. It's not just some weird visual thing. It's something real and potentially dangerous.
No doubt. And that brings up a really important point. This is bigger than just satisfying our curiosity or debating if aliens are real. This could be a huge national security issue.
For sure. If these objects are out there and we have no clue what they are or what they can do, well, that's a big problem.
Exactly. It seems like the government finally woke up to that. That's why we saw that bipartisan amendment from Senator Gillibrand in 2021 that led to a permanent office dedicated to investigating UAPs, the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group, or ARO for short.
So like a dedicated UFO hunting team. That's pretty cool.
Right. It's a huge step forward, shows that Congress has taken this seriously. They want answers, not just more secrets and cover-ups.
And that's huge, especially considering how UAP sightings were treated in the past, right? It was like the ultimate taboo subject. You talk about UFOs and people think you're a total nut job.
Yeah, for decades it was basically career suicide to even mention UFOs if you were in the military or government.
Exactly. But now it seems like the evidence is too much to ignore. And the potential consequences are way too serious to brush off.
The stakes have definitely been raised.
Totally. And now we're seeing more people coming forward, sharing their stories, even if it means putting their careers and reputations on the line. Like, remember Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Alex Dietrich?
Oh, those Navy pilots who testified before Congress back in 2021, their story was incredible.
Yeah, they're both top-notch pilots, highly decorated, and they didn't hold back. They described this UAP encounter in detail, and you could tell they were genuinely confused, even scared by what they saw.
Yeah, they weren't making this stuff up. They were trained observers with years of experience.
Exactly, and their testimony was pretty darn convincing, you gotta admit.
I mean, think about it. These are guys who could lose everything for speaking out. But they felt it was that important to share what they saw.
Right. It really shows you that this is more than just some fringe theory, We're talking real people, real encounters, and a real sense that we need to figure this stuff out.
Absolutely. And their story really highlights the dangers these unexplained objects could pose. But they're not the only ones speaking up. We've also got Lou Elizondo.
Oh, yeah, the former intelligence officer.
Yeah.
The one who ran the Pentagon's secret UFO program.
That's the one. He's been pretty vocal about all this, calling for more transparency from the government. He even quit his job to protest how they were handling the whole thing.
Wow, that takes guts. So he basically said, see you later to his career because he thought it was so important to get this info out there.
Pretty much. He felt like he had a duty to the public. What's really interesting is he talks about this whole culture of silence, this real hush-hush vibe around UAPs. Like, it was almost taboo to even acknowledge they were real.
Sounds kind of like they were trying to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, exactly. And Elizondo going public was huge. It brought the whole issue into the spotlight, forced the government to at least admit that UAPs are a thing.
Okay, so it sounds like we're finally getting past the stigma and the whole little green men thing, right?
Hopefully so. And that's a really important step, because now we can actually start having an open and honest conversation about what these objects might be, what they mean for us, all that. It's not about getting labeled anymore. It's about learning something new.
Makes sense. So where do scientists fit into all of this? For a long time, it seemed like they were staying far away from the UFO thing, right?
Yeah, for years, UAPs were kind of seen as the realm of conspiracy theorists and, well, let's just say not the most credible sources. A lot of scientists didn't want to touch it. They were worried about hurting their careers, but things are changing.
Yeah, you mentioned the Galileo project earlier. That seems like a pretty big deal.
Oh, yeah, that's a perfect example of how things are shifting towards real scientific study. It's led by Avi Loeb, this big-time astrophysicist from Harvard, and their whole mission is to gather and analyze data on UAPs. They're using all this high-tech stuff, like advanced telescopes and artificial intelligence.
So like real science, not just people telling stories.
Exactly. And that's what's so groundbreaking about it. They're not just relying on eyewitness accounts or grainy videos. They're out there trying to get hard evidence.
That's got to make a difference, right? I mean, it brings some real credibility to the whole UAP thing.
Definitely. It's a huge step forward from just speculating to doing actual research.
Great. Cool. So we've got the government finally admitting UAPs are a thing. We've got credible people sharing their experiences. And now we've got actual scientists getting involved. It seems like we're finally getting somewhere.
It really feels like the tides are turning. We're moving past the speculation and into a new era of actually investigating this stuff.
Pretty exciting, huh? Who knows what we might find out?
It is exciting. It really does feel like we're taking a serious look at something that's been, kind of hidden in mystery and speculation for years and years. But with all this new focus on data and real scientific study, there's this big challenge of trying to understand what we're actually seeing. I mean, what are these objects? Where do they come from? What do they mean for us?
Big questions.
Yeah.
Right? And I bet there are a lot of different theories floating around out there.
Oh, tons of them. And everyone's got their own ideas. Some people think UAPs are just really advanced tech made by, like, some other country. Maybe someone who's made some top secret breakthroughs in aerospace stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'd think too at first. Especially with all the tension going on in the world right now.
Right. It's a natural thought. But a lot of experts say it's pretty unlikely that any country, even with crazy good tech, could create objects that can pull off the stuff we see in these UAP reports.
Yeah, those speeds and movements are just insane. So if it's not some other country, what else could it be?
Well, another theory is that UAPs are just natural things that we haven't figured out yet. Some scientists say they could be atmospheric anomalies like ball lightning or weird plasma formations, things that mess with our eyes or show up strangely on radar.
Interesting. I mean, there's still so much we don't know about our own planet.
Right.
But some of these UAPs seem to be doing things that just completely defy physics as we know it.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Like, how do you explain something seemingly ignoring gravity or zipping around at supersonic speeds without a sonic boom? That's not how things are supposed to work.
Exactly. So it's hard to just chalk it up to something natural, no matter how weird. Which brings us to the theory that everyone kind of secretly loves. The alien theory.
The big one, right. That these objects are proof of extraterrestrial life, either visiting us or maybe even hanging out somewhere in our solar system without us knowing.
Now that's a thought that'll keep you up at night. It's both exciting and kind of scary, all at the same time.
Totally. I mean, if we did meet up with another intelligent civilization, that'd change everything, right? It'd make us rethink our place in the universe, how we understand technology and consciousness, even what it means to be human.
Whoa, heavy stuff. But no matter what the truth is, foreign tech, natural weirdness, aliens, whatever, it's clear that this UAP thing is making us question everything we thought we knew.
It really is. We're bumping up against the limits of our knowledge and having to consider things that seem impossible based on what we know now.
So what does it all mean? What should people take away from all this?
Well, for me, the big takeaway is that there's still a ton of mystery out there. And we got to approach it with an open mind, Be curious, be humble, and be ready to accept that our reality might be way more complex and crazy than we ever thought.
Elizondo talks about how we need to get over it, meaning the whole stigma and fear around UAPs. We need to ditch our old ideas and be open to new possibilities.
Exactly. And that goes for more than just UAPs, I think. It's about how we face all sorts of new discoveries and challenges. If we want to learn and grow, we got to be willing to question what we think we know.
So what does this mean for our listeners? Well, it's clear that the conversation around UAPs is changing big time. The government's finally being more transparent, and scientists are jumping in to do real research. And as Elizondo said, maybe it's time for everyone to just get over it and approach this whole thing with a sense of wonder, ready to learn something new.
And if we do confirm that there's other intelligent life out there, that opens up a whole new can of worms. How will that change how we see ourselves and our place in the cosmos?
That's something to think about. But one thing's for sure, the truth is out there somewhere. And hopefully this deep dive gave you a peek into just how much there is to discover.
Feel free to comment your thoughts or where you would like the conversation to go in a future cast. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps.